Hi there, guys. My name is Octavian, and this is going to be episode 1 of my newest series. It's going to be called Shoutcasts, and, I'm caving a little bit to public opinion here, but this is something I've wanted to do myself every now and then, but I get people commenting on some of the videos asking me to put tags on the videos telling you what ranking the video is made for the 100 Cast series, or also for the 100 Cast series, just not taking replays from people who are below, say, Diamond or Platinum, because they don't want to watch those games. But that is not the point of 100 Casts. 100 Casts has 2 points. 1, to help me practice my shoutcasting ability, and 2, to give anyone and everyone who wants to the chance to have one of their games shoutcasted over in a decently professional manner. I like to think I've gotten better over time, and I know that I'm only going to continue to improve, so the more people who send me casts, the more likely their cast is going to be well put together. So, this series, now that I've gotten some good practice in, and now that I've casted both on the 100 Cast series up to nearly 50 episodes, as well as with the ESL, probably with the Collegiate Star League, I've done a little bit of work with them, a few other small organizations and communities here and there, I've gotten some good practice in, so I'm going to putting together a bit more high fidelity of a series here. This one's going to be Challenger Casts, and it will be games pulled from LOL King, which is a website where you can grab any replay of a Diamond 4 or higher game which occurred, I believe, within the last 2 weeks is how long they keep the files on store, perhaps just 1 week, since that is a lot of games. But I can just pull Challenger games very easily off of that website, play the replays, and record them for you and shoutcast over them. And since they are Challenger level, as you can tell by the fact that C9 Balls is up in the top lane right now, as well as a few other names that you may recognize, it's going to be fairly quality gameplay. At least one should hope, as we actually get into the cast here, though. Let's stop introducing the series and start producing the series. Down in the bottom lane, we have a matchup of a Corki versus a Lucian and a Thresh versus a Blitzcrank, and there is the hook landing very nicely onto Podu, pulling him back into Latman and Fallen Bandit, but Thresh and Corki have so much damage. They are trading incredibly well. As up in top lane, my Sword Big has managed to hit level 2 before Balls is able to do so, goes in on that, and we have a fight in middle lane as well, just action all over the map, nobody falling over quite yet. First Blood is still on the table, but I do think that it's probably on its way from the kitchen to the table. C9 Balls up in the top lane, turning around, Flame Spitter running, trading back onto Sword Big as Usopp the Brave has gone for an invade here. Beautiful Korean caught out in his jungle, turns around to stun up this Rengar, running into the bush again. Rengar going to leap back out. The passive and a shield from Katie Smurf going to keep Beautiful Korean alive for a little bit longer. He goes back into the jungle. He flashed away already, so he does not have that up. And there is First Blood going over the Rengar. Now he's going to be flashing away. However, Sword Big has roamed from the top lane. And there is an Orianna right behind him. He decides to leave at least one more person out of the kill, turning around to giving it to Orianna. And that is First Blood traded for, well, a kill and an assist, meaning that the amount of gold on both teams is still pretty much exactly the same. Not much has changed, really, but Rengar did get that early kill, which means he's going to be able to pick up those Madreds fairly quickly. Pantheon going to get the Spirit Stone from the assist, as well as whatever gold he got from clearing the jungle as well, though, so it's really not that huge of a lead for Rengar in the jungle here. One of the the only really big consequence of that little trade there was KT Smurf in the middle lane on that Orianna, now going to have a double buff for a little while, and that is a big deal, because while Pantheon's double buff simply kind of went away, Rengar's double buff went over onto the mid laner, and a blue buff on an Orianna that early on in the game is going to mean tons of harass, even for a champion as long range and capable of farming from a distance as a Xerath. And Usopp the Brave and Beautiful Korean are at it again. They find each other in the Triburst near the top lane, and Beautiful Korean is actually coming out ahead in this duel here. Pantheon has slain Rengar, as now Sword Big is going towards Balls, flash forward for the stun. Balls flashes away to try and create some distance here. One more dash and a knock up from the Riven, though, going to be securing that kill. Beautiful Korean not even getting the assist, as we see that Thresh has roamed from the bottom lane. There's the flash into the Flay. The Ignite is dropped as well. Lantern thrown back just so that Altrim can gain some distance there. There's the Q landing, but Command Protect was on. KT Smurf managed to survive, as now Beautiful Korean is here, dropping the stun onto Altrim and chasing him through into the bush. There is a ward in there, so he sees where he's going, and the Blitzcrank hook from left field comes out and brings him down, though. Since that is the soccer skin, perhaps from left field is not the correct analogy here. And Rumble Bro If you just had an ultimate, this would look so much better, but Balls is not quite level 6. So is forced to walk on the way back to his top lane and continue farming until perhaps he can hit that point. He's picked up 2 cloth armors, Rumble has. That's still sticking on that champion there. And I'm really not surprised by that pickup. Probably going to be going, well, almost definitely, going to be going into the Seeker's Arm Guard, which is a really good pickup in a lane versus a Riven, especially considering the Riven has a bit of a lead right now. They're basically completely even in farm, 3 or 4 difference at most. But, I'll get back to that in just a second, as Usopp the Brave is coming down to try and get a gank onto Latman. This Rengar has been really active pre-6. Usually when a Rengar is picked up in a game, you'll see him not pull off so many ganks before 6, and beautiful Korean. Well, Pantheon is very good at ganking pre-6. He's a point-and-click stun, and he is using it on Balls, and Balls has no flash and no way to get away. He falls over again. Riven picking up her 2nd kill of the game as the hook does not quite land onto Latman. He guesses correctly and dashes away from that. The hook, though, doesn't land back onto Paju either. And both Fallen Bandit and Dunamis are both a little bit put off by that. However, Fallen Bandit going to come off the worse for the wear in that trade. Anyways, there has been a lot of action all over the map, and it looks like we might actually have some more. There's the hook, and it flies wide between them. Field goal for Thresh as first ultimate of the game. First Grand Skyfall going to be coming down by. The knock-up lands the hook, lands the stun, lands. Dunamis is getting CC'd to hell and back. He is very low on hit points. Beautiful Korean really wants this. There is the Heartseeker Strike active. Gonna be bringing Thresh down as Padu manages, thankfully, to Valkyrie away as the stun connects. So he ends up stunned a good distance away as Swordbig has roamed from the top lane, and his ult gonna be used to get him a killing spree under the tower there. Easiest kill of that Riven's life. Whew, 8-1 suddenly for Purple Team. Or I suppose not suddenly, it's just been gradually action happening. Every minute or so there's been at least a kill or 2, which is probably why we have 8 or 9 kills at 7.5 minutes into the game. And most of them going over to Purple Team here, which is not good for Blue, seeing as, well, actually Purple Team does have a fairly early game oriented team, especially with beautiful Korean. Speaking of beautiful Korean on that Pantheon, he's going after Usopp the Brave, who did manage to steal away his blue buff, but it doesn't look like he might be wearing it for very long. There's the spear and the Heartseeker Strike. Killing spree for Pantheon. Oof, that is going to be an impressive lead that he's going to have right there, because Pantheon is very, very good at taking a little bit of gold early, and I mean, a killing spree is not exactly a little bit, and making it work really hard for him. There is Dunamis. How did that hook even miss? It lands onto a minion. He follows it anyway, but that might not have been the best decision. There is the second hook coming out from Blitzcrank, pulling him back in, making sure the kill happens. Now C9 Balls going in with the first equalizer of the game, nearly bringing down Swordbig, but he does get overheated because of all the spell casts. Does not have the ability to cast any further spells and cannot finish off the Riven. Now Fallen Bandit caught out in the jungle along with beautiful Korean. Usopp the Brave is playing this actually not exactly to his namesake. He's being a little bit cowardly, you might say, rather than brave. There's the first shot. There's the second shot, and it lands! Oh, and the shockwave! The shockwave pulls Altruum out of the way of the rocket grab. That, I wish I had replay capability right here, because that would have been glorious to watch again in slow motion. But KT Smurf now getting pulled by the hook and then brought back in by the flay, going to be going down, and this is exactly what Blue Team needed. There's the nice snare landing from Usopp the Brave as Xerath finishes off that kill for a double kill here. And they're still 5 kills behind, as well as a few thousand gold. But that's going to give them the needed confidence boost to continue to gain advantages in this game, or rather lose disadvantages in this game, because they won't be gaining true advantages for a while. And oh god, Corky Bug strikes again. Basically, sometimes Corky in the replay client will be constantly firing his Gatling gun, at least the sound effect. Oh god, Altruum is caught way out of position. Beautiful Korean leaping down from the sky, and then a simple sword slash from Riven. Gonna finish off the kill onto that Xerath. Picking up the kill again, and actually shut down gold. Going over to my Swordbig, which is an appropriate name for someone playing Riven, though only sometimes true, really. Dragon, going to be the next focus of Purple Team's ire, and there's really nothing that Blue can do about that. Rengar was over on the other side of the map, taking away his blue buff, and so Dragon goes easily over to purple team. No turrets yet have fallen, but we are only 10 minutes or so into the game, so even a dragon at this point is a little bit early, as Usopp the Brave forced to go into his ultimate just to escape here. Might be looking to go back in. He leaps in onto my sword big, snares him up. There's the hook after flashing forward from the Thresh Equalizer as well, zoning purple team around. Flash for flash from C9 Balls and Sword Big, but they're going to keep on going with the chase. Flame Spitter doing some damage as Orianna flashes over the wall to escape it. And we're back down to Corki and the infinite Gatling gun. C9 Balls, though, is not giving up on this. He's using Scrap Shield to chase through the jungle, get a little bit of that speed buff going, forcing Sword Big out along with his friendly Orianna. It looks like we might get the first turret of the game thus far being turned to rubble down in the bottom lane. No, actually, Podu showing up is going to be able to defend that, while Outroom in the middle lane is going to be doing some good damage of his own to the enemy turret. However, Sword Big has flanked around from the side, looking to maybe make an engage happen here. Dash! Very, very nice dash, broken wings there. Instantly away from the stun as soon as it was tossed back. Very, either really nice prediction or really nice reaction time, both of which are impressive. Ooh. Hook missing by a hair onto Podu, and this tower is still taking shots every now and then, and not the good kind that you have at a party, the kind that you get from Lucian's guns. And those are the bad kind. You don't want to take those kind of shots. Fallen Bandit now running forward, lands a knockup, lands a silence, but is not quite soon enough. Valkyrie still gets cast somewhere in that instantaneous second before the silence. Podu managed to click Valkyrie and thus was able to escape and avoid the hook as well. Beautiful Korean now landing the stun onto Usopp the Brave, forcing him to flash back under the turret. However, the hook lands on a beautiful Korean, pulling him back in range for the snare. And that's going to be Corki getting the kill. 6-11. Still 5 kills down. They can't seem to close that particular gap. They've never been, well, aside from at the very beginning of the game, but after they got put into a hole, they've never managed to climb back more than a deficit of 5 kills. So it's still been purple team ahead pretty much this entire game, but as I said earlier, getting those kills is a confidence boost for blue team, because they were 8-1 down. That is 8 times the amount of kills going over to purple team, and now it's just about 2 times, maybe even a little bit less, because math works in wonderful ways. We should look at some of the builds, though. You know what? We haven't done that so far, and we are 13 minutes into this game, so it's just been so very action-packed. We have 17 kills in 13 minutes. It's a little bit... That's a good amount for such a high-level game. Usually they aren't so filled with blood and massacre. Usually they're a little bit more calculated, but this is solo queue, and the chaotic effect that can have infects even the highest levels of play. Usopp the Brave leaping in onto Sword Big. There's the Hex Drinker pop, but it's not going to be enough. Rengar does not care about your Hex Drinker. Knives are not magical damage. They are very, very physical. Shutdown gold going over to him. That's going to be very valuable, because that was a 4-kill killing spree. That's a good amount of gold to be given over to a Rengar. Fallen Bandit getting taken kind of low by the Corki's burst damage. Nice dash from Latman. Going to be avoiding the rocket, if not the phosphorus bomb. And that Hex Drinker was actually something I wanted to touch on when we were talking earlier about builds. And then it came up in a fight. So there, I've mentioned it. The Riven has a Hex Drinker, which is quite a good answer to a Rumble top lane. And you know what's interesting? Despite the fact that Beautiful Korean is 4-1 up on balls, not Beautiful Korean, sorry, my Sword Big. Beautiful Korean is playing in the jungle on Pantheon, by the way. I just messed up the names. Despite the fact that Riven is 4-1 up on Rumble in the top lane, Rumble's doing quite a nice job in terms of farm. That is a more than 20 CS lead, and that's a little bit impressive, to be perfectly honest, because Riven at this point does have more gold than him. It's just 4 kills is quite a bit of money, and one of them could have potentially been a shutdown. I believe one of them was a shutdown, actually, onto the Xerath, so it's even more money than you might expect, meaning that she's at least even in terms of gold with this Rumble, possibly even ahead. And the matchup isn't really in favor of balls in the first place, because Riven is just quite good at getting up next to a Rumble and, well, fighting. It's what Riven does, dueling. So I'm very impressed with Balls' top lane play this game, though to be fair, it's generally fairly impressive. So I'm not really surprised as much as just suitably impressed. Sword Big going to be pushing up the lane, pushing it under the tower. Balls waiting for his minions to arrive. Delivered very kindly by that Riven, as the hook does land on a Fallen Bandit. Not going to be followed up on, though. Just some damage from the Zerath, taking advantage of the fact that there's a solitary soul target there, and Altruum getting hooked over the wall of the Dark Passage. Not going to be taken, actually, flashing away a bit quicker and a bit safer than taking that Lantern as Sword Big, trying to make an engage happen, but Usopp the Brave turns invisible before he can finish him off, and then he's going to get bursted down. Thresh actually picking up that kill as the Shockwave lands into both Balls and Usopp. There is the ulti coming out from Balls to try and dissuade them, but it's not going to be enough. Pantheon Sky falls to finish off the Rumble as there is a Rengar going down to Lucian as there's a flash forward from beautiful Korean double kill for the Pantheon. That is disaster in the jungle for blue team. Dynamis, I don't think that you can do this. KT Smurf has a lot of shields, flashes over the wall, but there is the last second heal. Orianna picks up that kill. A little bit brave of Thresh to try and do the 1v1 there, even though KT Smurf was very low on health. Bringing heal on Orianna seems to be a viable strategy here. Certainly paid off in that particular fight. Dragon gonna be up. Well, actually is up. Currently is live, so they're gonna be grabbing that. And there's the flash forward from Podu chasing after Smurf. Rocket lands one more rocket, but he's too far away. The dissonance gonna be slowing him up and giving the speed buff over to Smurf and allowing him to create just enough distance that that rocket whiffs and fizzles out, rather than exploding and causing a massacre. A murder, rather. Massacre as many people, murder is one. Altruum now might be in trouble. He does turn around, he lands the stun. Some good damage on the Fallen Bandit for his trouble. And he doesn't quite fall, but he does get scolded by the damage. No, go away, Blitzcrank. You are not welcome here. And go away he does. Up in top lane, Balls and Sword Big dueling it out, and Balls has still managed to keep his CS lead, despite the fact that he's died a third time now. He's spent a good amount of time in that graveyard, and, well, none of it has really been willingly, as beautiful Korean going to be clearing out the ward before clearing out his red buff. Might be giving that over to Latman, but Latman does have a double buff already, so it looks like that red buff's going to be going to Pantheon. Certainly a useful tool for him to have, as they're all going to be converting on top lane here from Purple. Aside from Orianna, every member of Purple team is near top, but Pantheon thinks better of it, realizes that his team does not need a fourth member to take out this 400 health tower, and roams on down through his jungle. Maybe going to be going bot to try and stop the Corki from taking the tower in response, but it's going to be a little bit too little too late. However, there is a very nice hook from the Thresh landing on the Blitzcrank in the jungles. Now Equalizer is dropped pretty far ahead of them, and they don't really have anything to follow that up with as the hook flies out from Thresh but goes completely wide. And that is a 1-for-0 trade, actually, and a 1-for-1 trade in terms of turrets. As Podu, there's a leaping Pantheon coming in to try and take you out. The rocket does not quite connect any Valkyries away. However, there's a teleport coming in back from the side. If Podu can just survive, he can get the help he needs, and he does. There is Rumble bringing down the Pantheon. Leap out of the bush. There's the snare as well. The Hex Drinker popped by the hook, but it doesn't matter. Usopp the Brave has a lot of physical damage, and he's going to be bringing down the Riven, as now KT Smurf and Altruum are in a little bit of a mono-e-mono. However, the Lantern, I was about to say pulls him to safety, but doesn't quite. Latman is not exactly safety. Latman is a double-killing machine. Whew. And my throat is beginning to go a little bit hoarse because of all of the action all over the map. This entire game, it looks like there's going to be a little bit more of it. Usopp the Brave getting chased out. The ball does spot him. Well placed there. Doesn't quite land, though, and he has his Boots of Mobility active now. And he's going to run away at a quick step. Farm in the jungle with Balls and Podu. Now that's quality League of Legends. I'm going to be going towards the middle lane as well. Blitzcrank's running in through the jungle with beautiful Korean with those Boots of Mobility. Looks like they might want to try and make something happen under the Corki here, but they can't quite get in range. Podu has been playing very safe. Only member of his team not to have died yet, actually, which is a little bit annoying, honestly, because I believe the Corki auditory bug is fixed when he dies. So, of course, the one guy who's bugged and annoying us is the one who has to have a perfect KDA right now. Stop playing so well, Podu. Die, don't you? And they're going to be taking the turret in the middle lane as well. It's fairly low on hit points, and Purple Team didn't have anyone around to respond in time. Even if they had, I believe that would have fallen over since they had a decently sized minion wave, and as I said, the turret was very low on hit points. So that turret was kind of a gimme anyways. 2 to 3 now in turrets on the map, so Purple Team still has the lead there, and they have the lead not only in terms of turrets and thus map control, but also in terms of gold by a sizable chunk, actually. About 5,000, maybe a little bit less. Fallen Bandit trying to come in for the hook. The hook doesn't connect onto him either, and he flashes forward, lands the hook onto Eltrum in the Dark Passage. Not gonna be there for him. Riven picks up the kill. That was instantaneous. Usopp the Brave leaping out of the bush onto Beautiful Korean. Beautiful Korean, though, leaps right back onto him, giving him a taste of his own jumping medicine. Ooh, big one, doing a lot of damage. But not going to be quite enough to bring anybody down. Balls has roamed from the top lane, might be looking to make a play happen here. He does, in fact, have Equalizer. If he could land that, no! Leaping over the wall, Usopp the Brave, in style, brings down the Blitzcrank. Well done by him as the hook landed from Dynamis there to just make sure that the Blitzcrank didn't have anywhere to go. You know, whenever that Blitzcrank manages to land a hook, I'm always really tempted to shout goal because it's a soccer scheme. I don't know. My humor is bad and I've been trying to refrain. There is the ulti from Rumble. KT Smurf is not going to have any piece of that, though. Flashes immediately as Podu is forced to Valkyrie away from the damage from the Orianna. And there's the hook. It lands onto Riven. Not quite the target he wanted, but he's going to go in anyway. Boxes drop, but he's all alone as Pantheon has split the rest of his team off away from him. Beautiful Korean going to solo out the Corki and bring him down as Xerath falls as well to Riven, and that is disastrous for blue team. Purple team going to take the 3-0 kill lead there and go for a Baron potentially. There's lots of pings coming out onto it. I would not be surprised if they went for this. It's a little bit of an early Baron, but they do have the Orianna and the Riven, both with fairly spammable shields to tank this up. And Pantheon's passive is good for taking out Baron as well, since it does block a Baron auto attack every now and then, so they can actually tank this fairly effectively. And Rumble does not have his ulti up, which would be the main threat in such an enclosed area. Usopp the Brave not quite there in time to smite it away, and so it does fall to Beautiful Korean as the hook lands onto Balls, and his life is very, very short at that point. Pantheon picking up that kill. Ping's going out into Dragon too, because why not take Dragon after taking Baron? People often say that Dragon is a consolation prize while the enemy team's taking Baron, but hey, why not get first and second place if you can do that? No reason at all. Pantheon going to be roaming down there. Going to be starting that one off fairly soon, I'm expecting. However, this time the enemy team does not have as many members dead, and they do have some ward coverage, at least nearby the Dragon Pit. Hook missing from Blitzcrank, so they might be able to try and make something happen here. The blue trinket from Corki going to spot them doing it. The rocket, a token effort that does not give any reward. Pantheon going to be smiting that one away too. So there's Dragon and Baron picked up for Purple Team here, not to mention a few kills to boot. That is quite a lead they've garnered for themselves. 10 kills, 1 turret, 1 Dragon, 1 Baron, and just about 10,000 gold or so, which is really the most impressive number out of that whole list. It's a lot of gold to be ahead by at 23 minutes into the game. If this game pulls to the really late game, they might be in a little bit of trouble. Not even really. I mean, Orianna does amazingly late game because she's just good at all points in the game. Riven's okay. Not a hyper carry, but she's certainly perfectly fine in the later game. It's really only the Pantheon that's going to be falling off, as we see him falling out of the sky, trying to land onto somebody, but Podu is just too good at not being around, and it seems like the bug does not end upon death because he has died one time so far, and he still is making a infinitely recurring and infinitely annoying Gatling gun sound whenever the camera decides to focus near him. I'm very sorry about that. I do not control the bugs which occur. They are beyond anyone's control, I do think. They're just so strange sometimes. I once had a replay that was bugged where none of the champions existed. You could see their spellcasts, but you couldn't see anything to do with champions aside from that. Spellcasts and auto attack animations, and there is Thresh getting pulled over the wall to his demise. Beautiful Korean is on a killing spree. He drops the box, but it's really just a parting glance. Falls over backwards, lands on his own hook. Sword Big going after balls. There's the ulti pop from the Riven trying to make something happen here. Stun up and no, does not have enough damage to finish off the kill as Usopp the Brave is coming around. Might want to go for an engage, but there's too many members of the enemy team nearby for that to be a feasible option. And Fallen Bandit does not care about your poke. He's going to sit there and take it. He does have that Baron buff to regen as well as the Relic Shield. You know, it's interesting. He also has a Frozen Heart, so really going to try and shut down the physical damage aspects over on blue side. There's the hook landing on the KT Smurf, not followed up though, and the Shockwave Dissonance combo going to be bringing Podu down to about 10% of his health, forced to pop heals. He Valkyries over the wall, and Balls gets a double kill. That's very good for blue team. That is 2 kills up. However, they lost outer turrets, or outer turret, one singular one in the top lane. Beautiful Korean might be a little bit caught out here. There's the Emu's Ghost Blade. The snare doesn't land from Usopp though, and he's going to be able to get back into the bush. And at this point in the game, Pantheon has become moderately tanky. He's not going down very quickly. Usopp forced to flash away as Latman and my Swordbig have both shown up, and despite the Dark Passage, Zerath going to fall over, and then the Culling going to finish off Thresh immediately thereafter. And the 2 kills are got back by Purple Team with easy fluidity and grace. Chasing a Pantheon a little bit too far. They probably expected him to be a bit more squishy than he was, since he has been fairly squishy throughout this whole game, but as you can see if you look down at those inventories, he has indeed gotten much more tanky. He's got a Randuin's Omen, he's got a Locket of the Iron Solari. That is a lot of health, some good armor, some good magic resists. He's got all his bases covered, and it certainly paid off right there. Didn't exactly get bursted down, and he was able to turn around and make a double kill happen for his AD carry. That's always a nice thing. Usopp the Brave coming in, Yumu's and ulti running. The snare doesn't quite land though again. And my Swordbig gonna turn around with his sword, indeed rather big. Shutdown Gold going over to Riven as now the box is popped defensively from Dunamis to try and, well, defend. And that is a lot burned to bring down Beautiful Korean. He does eventually fall over, but so far it is a double kill for Swordbig as the Shutdown Gold goes over to Rumble. Playing Rumble on that ball. Balls is playing Rumble. But anyways, the Golden Statue of Flames gets the kill on to Blitzcrank. Gonna immediately fall over after that to my Swordbig, as that is the ace going to Latman, and this very well might be the end of the game right here. Inhibitor 1 going to be falling in the bottom lane. They're going to be pushing in onto the Nexus turrets now. Rengar has respawned. He's coming out of the base, running with them home guards, but he doesn't really have the ability to clear waves all that well, and there is a chunk of damage from KT Smurf. And there's a good reason for that chunk of damage. He's built basically only damage. Nothing defensive at all, not even a Zhonya's Hourglass. That is a Rabadon's Death Cap, Void Staff, and I suppose Athene's Unholy Grail is a slightly defensive item, but other than that, even a blue pot running. This is a very aggressive Orianna build. There is the Q, there is the W, there is the R. Rengar falls over. Yes, KT Smurf. Yes, indeed. Ravage. That is what you just did, Orianna. You ravaged very effectively. Clearing out the minions in the middle lane now. They're going to be pushing up to the inhibitor turret. And they've already gotten one inhibitor in the bot lane. Baron's going to be respawning in about 50 seconds, though, so they may want to wait for that. Go grab the Baron. There's really not much that blue team can do to contest them unless they make quite a big mistake or Rumble lands a beautiful ulti. That's actually a bit of a dangerous point right there. If Rumble can land a really nice equalizer, and if Balls can get that across multiple members of the enemy team and catch them in the Baron pit with it, then very well they could win a team fight even this far in the hole, simply because Baron does have a debuff, which makes people more vulnerable to magic damage, and the Baron pit is the perfect place to place an equalizer within because it kind of forces people to be in a smaller area. And this is a very sneaky ward from blue team. Just out of vision of the pink. It's like they knew exactly where purple was going to be placing their pink. Beautiful Korean and Smurf going to be going after the dragon here. Probably not going to be using Smite. Yeah, he doesn't use the Smite. He just uses his crit on Heartseeker Strike to bring the dragon down, so that he's saving the Smite here for the Baron, which he doesn't even want to walk. He's too lazy to walk there. He jumps there with Grand Skyfall just to start that Baron off. Make sure to do everything as quickly as possible. Take the dragon, take the Baron, and there's the equalizer, but it's not quite as nice as it could have been. wasn't really anything to follow that up with. I mean, Zerath ulti, Right of the Arcane, was popped as well, but that didn't really do much, as Big Sword is godlike, and Balls is really playing with fire here, both quite literally and figuratively. Goes into golden statue mode, but comes out of it only to die. Latman is dominating, as there is... Actually, Orianna does fall off to the side. She was a little bit too brave, and she got taken down by Usopp the Brave off to the side. That's 1 death for 2 kills and a Baron. That is a perfectly worth it trade for Purple Team. They can indeed say worth in all chat if they like to. And they're going to be pushing out the middle lane, going after their second inhibitor tower, and most likely second inhibitor of the game. Latman taking the tower for a little bit, but he's Lucian. He's fairly squishy. He's not going to be able to do that for too long. Beautiful Korean, though, is certainly not squishy. He's picked up another Giant's Belt on top of the previously mentioned items, and that is the middle lane inhibitor turret falling over. The middle lane inhibitor is already below half health, and now it is below all of the potential hit points since it is at 0. I suppose it could go to negatives. That would be a little bit strange. Altrum getting hooked back into the enemy team. Rather, falls over. Big Sword is now legendary as the Nexus goes down. Purple Team victory. Thank you guys for watching. Episode 2 will be coming out fairly shortly. I'm going to probably be doing these things 2 times a week. That's the tentative schedule. If it doesn't stick to that schedule, I'm sorry. But, there's not much I can offer you aside from I'm sorry. I do work a full-time job, and I'd like to try and keep 100 casts going as well, so it can get a little bit hectic, but some people have asked for these games, and so some people, all of you people actually, are going to be getting them. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all tomorrow.